Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business of Business podcast. I'm Roy. We are a podcast that bring a lot of different guests from a lot of different disciplines, a lot of viewpoints, just trying to put information out there. That is our main focus is just not only educating our business, our smaller businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, but also giving them resources to go to if they, may recognize that they have a need. We do talk to a lot of great professionals. And again, today we have another awesome professional with us. It's Monique Idemudia. And I hope that she coached me through that, but I hope that I got that right. She is the founder of Dragon Digital Marketing. It's a digital marketing agency for small businesses. And she is based out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Monique is passionate about inspiring small business owners to build an online presence and grow their business with the power of great digital marketing. She is an execution driven consultant and specializes in inbound marketing strategies in which small businesses can scale. So, first off, Monique, welcome to the show and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us.
Hi, Roy. Thank you so much for having me.
So, first off, I guess the good question is kind of how did you end up here? What led you to the digital marketing and especially focusing on small businesses?
Right. I've always worked in digital marketing. I've loved marketing ever since. It's always, fascinated me and excited me. I'm a creative person, but I'm also like a little bit of a numbers person and an analytical person. And marketing has like the perfect mix where I can use my skill set and, apply all of the knowledge that I have and use all of the skills that I have all in one. So it's really multifaceted. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to me. And yeah, I decided to help small businesses with my agency because I love small businesses and I like to help small business owners and I want to really help them grow and scale and versus working with like large corporations, it's not as fun, not as exciting to me. I get to really work closely with the people and I get to see the impact that I make, and it's just a better connection and a nicer, more personal relationship.
Yeah, and I think I do a lot of work with small businesses as well, and you can really see the needle move with them. Where sometimes moving a needle small amount for a large corporation benefits them greatly, but it's not near as fun as the seeing how you can really transform a small business. Well, that kind of leads into what I guess what drew me to you and got us to speaking originally about you coming on the show is I like what you said about uh, building strategies that can scale. And I think that's kind of a jumping off point. It's important because a lot of times we do things that at some point we kind of bump into the ceiling. We just can't push them any further. So, can you tell us a little bit about this? How you can help businesses build these strategies to scale?
Yes, that's right. So oftentimes there comes a point where a lot of small businesses can't grow and scale anymore when they've reached that point because the processes and the systems are just not, built for that. They haven't been laid out to handle all of that input coming in. So it's really important to systematize the entire business and structure the strategy. You have different processes there, and you have to be really, really aware of every single stage. You have to be aware of the stages of awareness of your target customers. You have to be aware of the target that you want to achieve and how you funnel your target customers through your buyer's journey and have goals set for each stage. And then you also need to have software in place that handles it for you, and everything has to be well integrated with each other. So it's like this, yeah, perfect orchestra of people and processes, SOPs, plans, software all working together so you can really grow and scale your small business.
Yeah, and before we even start talking about the digital aspect or marketing in general, I think you bring up a good point with all these different things that need to be in place. the very first thing I suggest is to be able to have a conversation, because there's so many uh, people doing things that, I don't want to say unscrupulous, but they will take your money and do things that don't really propel your business to that level. And I've talked about it with others before, but we'll just take likes. You know, if you get likes on an account, that is just, it's basically it's just vanity driven, because I can have thousands of people like my account, but that doesn't, if they're not buyers or potential buyers in the future, then they have no value. I mean, I would rather have one like with the person who is going to be a buyer than 1,000 of people that don't, because it doesn't gain us anything. So I think the importance is setting down and hearing exactly what you just said, is that this is more than about, can you market for me? Yes, here's my check. And then it just sometime magically happens. I mean, you have to have a conversation, number one, to make sure you're a good fit, but also you have to build these processes and these systems before you can actually get going. So it's good to understand that from your marketing person's point of view, what they can do for you, what they're willing to do for you, and then also manage those expectations.
That's right. Yes, you really have to get to know the business, like everything, and
Right.
analyze everything and take all of that into account and then map out the strategy. It has to be custom. It can't be a cookie cutter template or a cookie cutter funnel with an entirely different business in mind.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
has to be really, really custom, and you have to make the effort to really actually care, first of all, and then get to know the people, get to know the business, and really get to know their goals. And, there's
Yeah.
different ways. There's not the one and only way to achieve a certain thing. So you can really
Yeah.
map it out and then customize it.
Yeah, I think it's important, because a lot of times people say, "Yeah, marketing's marketing. I can do it for a guy that's selling, candy, to a person selling cars." And I think the back end process of me putting an ad, something, let's just use Facebook. I mean, the process of putting some text in a box, select and go, pay, that's all pretty much universal. But the messaging, I mean, the somebody like yourself that's working with small businesses really has to fundamentally understand, who's my customer, what is my business, what is my value proposition, because honestly, there can be two like businesses that have very different value propositions. So if your marketing person won't take the time to sit down with you and have this conversation, it would probably be a big red flag.
Yes, it should be. It should be
Yeah.
a big red flag if your
Yeah.
marketing person is not willing to take the time to sit down with you and really get to know your business and create personas for that business, and
Yeah.
really segment your audience and turn them into like different groups and buckets that you can then work with. So that's
Yeah.
really important, and it's also important to agree on KPIs and not chase vanity metrics such as likes, like you've mentioned, that mean nothing and they don't affect the bottom line, and it's not going to
Right.
increase your profit, because you want your marketing to be an investment and actually making more money back. So you really have to approach it strategically. That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the other part of that is that, as the consumer or as the client, you should not have to beg and stay after your marketing person to do that. If they don't come at you pretty quick with, these are the things that we need to do, then you probably need to move on. But enough about that. I just, it's very important. There's so many people that in this day and time, anybody can hang a shingle out that says, "I'm a marketing guy, I'm a finance guy." You can say that you're anything, but knowing these intricacies of how to actually work that process, not everybody has that detail. So that's just good to know when you're interviewing or talking with other people. So let's just start with the basics. You mentioned inbound marketing. So there is inbound marketing and outbound marketing. What are some of the key differences in those?
Yeah, so
And why?
inbound.
And the second thing is, why do I care? Why would I care as your consumer what those are?
Yes, right. Okay, so
Yeah,
inbound and outbound marketing, they're both fundamentally different. Outbound marketing is like you're reaching out to your target customer, you're cold calling them, you're sending them emails, you're sending them DMs on LinkedIn or wherever, and reach out to them, and you just pitch to them and you want to sell to them, and you're the one who finds them. Like either you buy a list of contacts with their contact information, email address, phone number, wherever you get that information from, and then you call them up or you hire like a other company to do that for you. And that's outbound marketing. That's like the old school way, the way that it used to be.
right.
And people just, got kind of sick of it. People don't like being sold to. People love to buy, but they don't like being sold to, and they like to buy from people that they know, like, and trust, and organically come to them. And it's just a better approach to allow people to have the realization themselves that you're an expert, you're trustworthy, and you can help them, and you have the perfect solution for them organically through content that you put out. For example, I'm on your podcast right now, so people can see I actually know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Not just pretending to be a marketer, but I actually know what I'm doing, and I have a proven track record. And there's content out there that shows it and that proves it, and that will attract people. And that's the inbound way. So the inbound way is really doing content marketing and putting your videos, blog articles, podcast episodes, graphics, whatever you have out there, and that attracts people to you. So you're not as intrusive and salesy and pushy, um, as the stereotype is for a lot of marketers and salespeople as well. But yeah, you're just letting your success, your actions speak for themselves, so to speak. And
And I
yeah.
think the couple of things just from what you said that I kind of recognize is so the outbound marketing is basically the business taking the approach to reach out, where inbound is you let people come to you in their time when they're ready. And like you said, sometimes uh, people are turned off by very aggressive outbound marketing, and you end up turning somebody off that may have been a buyer eventually, but now they have a bad taste for your company, so they're like, man, I'm not even going to consider them. So I think that is one thing to consider. The other thing that's interesting is that so when you do outbound, you're limited by your how many people you have. I mean, you can always scale by adding people, but when you add people, you add cost, training. There's a lot of complications. Whereas I'm assuming with the inbound marketing side, that is where the scale really works, because once you have success, it's much easier and probably much cheaper, or not cheap, more cost effective, we put it that way. It's more cost effective to scale to get that next lead than I actually have to add people.
That's right. Yes. When you're outbound, you're also burning a lot of leads, because if you leave a bad first impression and you're really pushing and following up like a million times, you don't take the time to like even get to know the person, and how you can provide help and how you can benefit them, but you're basically saying, I want your money. You only get one chance, right?
Right,
that's
right,
what
right.
that's what you're doing when you do outbound, versus when you do inbound. You can convince people through your content, and you can put out different forms of content that help people learn more and educate themselves about what it is that you do, and whether common myth and misconceptions, and they can get like a realistic understanding about what they need and what's actually good for them, and just learn more as well. And they can come to you and reach out when they actually when they're ready, when they feel like it, when they've reached that stage. So
Right.
time is also very important. You can reach out to the right person with outbound marketing, but if it's at the wrong time, then you've lost that person as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not being rude, just taking some notes because there's a lot to go with this. But the other great thing about the inbound portion is that you can make that work for you 24 hours a day because, like the other night I got busy and it was, 10, 11 o'clock and I'm thinking about a Christmas gift from my dad. So I'm kind of looking through some stuff. Now, if you'd called me at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, probably wouldn't have been too happy that you were making a solicitation call at that time of day. Well, it's illegal, number one, but you know what I mean. The point is that I had access to content that I could look at on my terms whenever that is, 24 hours a day.
Yes, that's right. It's also self-reinforcing. People can share that content so you can get new traffic and new people coming to you and you get word of mouth referrals and it works 24/7 basically. You don't have to actively reach out to people all the time and your stuff is out there on the internet 24/7, 365 days a year and people can find it and share it day and night. And, a piece of content that you may have created 2 years ago can still generate you leads today and also going forward into the future. So it just snowballs and it becomes so big and powerful once you're really, doing it and you're fully leveraging it. So it's really a powerful approach to marketing, being inbound.
Yeah, one more thing about that is I feel like our consumers are getting smarter. Now, I'm not talking about more of a, $3 or $5 item that somebody may pick up. That's not a lot of thought goes into it. But once your price points start rising and the purchase of a good or service takes more thought and consideration, I think we have begun with the internet has allowed us to do more research. So instead of me having to call you and say, Monique, I don't know what your product or your service really is. Can you explain that to me? I think that we as consumers are doing much more research before I call you and say, Monique, I'm ready to buy. And is that kind of what you are seeing?
That's right. Yes. And you give the people the opportunity to do that and to do that research with your content so you can also, influence that. And yeah, that's really powerful. And that's also what I'm seeing. So people are definitely much more informed than they used to be, and they're doing their research and they're also really interested because they can access that information, easily on their phone. If you're
Right.
connected to the internet, the whole world is in your hands, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other nice thing about that is it allows our prospects, our consumers to much more easily share the business information with friends and relatives too. It's easy, just to uh, forward or share something. So I think that's another big thing. So tell us some tips, I guess, about, I've got some content that I want to publish, either website, I guess, blog. There's a lot of methods, but what are some ways that I can make sure that gets viewed? Well, I guess because that's you can create great content, but if nobody ever sees it, it's pretty much worthless. So I think that is, what is the next step once we've created it in order to get it out to the right people?
That's right. So content promotion is just as important as content creation. You got to create the content and then also go ahead and promote it. And which channels you're promoting it on really depends on your business and it depends on your audience. You have to analyze it. You can do surveys, ask questions, ask your existing customers, do some market research and see what people like, how people like to consume the content, whether they prefer to read an article or watch a video. Like, you don't know, you have to find out and then see where they hang out, which are their favorite social platforms. Like, where are you going to be at as your small business or as your brand? And then be where your customers are. You have to come to them, to get your content in front of the right eyeballs. So that's really individual. There's no general advice that I can give here, but you can easily find it out. And another important thing is to really create buyer personas so you know everything about your ideal customers, and it really it really personalizes everything. It's like now you know that you're talking to a real person and they're not just like a number anymore, this abstract, oh, like this is my ideal customer, but you got it in front of you. You can reference that over and over again and refine it. And it's going to help you to resonate more with the right people so you can get your content in front of them. And yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just had a battery failure on my recording device. Can you still hear me now?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay, good, good. I don't have too much background noise. Sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay. You can cut it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just making a note that that's important, is to create an avatar of our customer. They're all different. They're for every business, and then also that's going to change. Maybe for 6 months or a year, we always have to revisit that to see if this is still the same person that we're selling to. And it's also different to try to differentiate between who may be our end user versus who may be the purchaser. I just say that because I talked to a gentleman not long ago that did some work uh, with kids through a martial art studio. So some of their advertising was reaching the kids, but of course they don't have the buying power to actually make the purchase. But they were able to convince mom and dad to do that. So anyway, there can be a differentiator between there as well.
Absolutely. And that's a great example. If you're marketing to kids, you have to convince the parents as well because the parents have the money. Same when you're in B2B and you're selling to larger companies, maybe they have, hierarchies, they have report lines. So the end user may not be the one, the purchaser with the purchasing power that, has control over the budget. So you really have to identify the different roles in the buying center and see, who you approach how. And yeah, that's really important.
So then the next thing we have done once we create that buying persona, then also really looking at the channels, because I think if I'm not wrong, and you can elaborate on this, but I think our channels have become very differentiated who resides where. And just some of the big ones that I can, kind of relate to are, business professionals. If you're like doing B2B sales, probably want to be on LinkedIn. Whereas if it's a consumer sale, if it's for I don't know, middle age maybe, or I think middle age is probably now the bigger audience on Facebook. And then kids typically maybe TikTok or Instagrams, maybe even Twitter. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yes, that's right. So you have to identify which channels make the most sense for you and where your ideal customers actually hang out and what are they using, because that's where you want to be as well. So do some research about that, and that should also be part of your buyer persona or of your ideal customer avatar to figure that out. And you definitely want to go omni-channel and not put all of your eggs in one basket and do just one thing and focus all of your energy and effort just in one channel. So you want to distribute it a little bit, still focus on a couple of, key things, key channels. You don't want to dilute all of your marketing power and try to, do everything at the same time. And then you end up being good at nothing, because nowadays it's very competitive and you have to be amazing at what you do in order to stand out, or your posts are just not going to stick out. And especially on social media, what you've mentioned of the social platforms, people have infinite feeds and you can keep on scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and you need to post something and create content that is scroll stopping, that really makes them stop for a second and think like, wow, okay, this stands out to me, this is for some reason unique, to be, in order for you, for it to be effective for you. Yes.
Right. Yeah, and that's the other good question is posting, because I know well, there's so much out there now that I feel that if I post something, let's just use Facebook for an example. I post something on there now. If you're not on there now, you may not see that. The chances are very high that that post is already burned off by the time you get on there. So, and there's, as I've, I have my own ideas, but as I've done a lot of interviews lately, I hear a lot of different opinions on how much you should post. So let's talk about that for a minute. What do you think? I'm selling a service and I'm doing Facebook or LinkedIn. How often do I need to post?
Yeah, that's a great topic. It really depends on the social network. Each social network is different, and the lifetime of a post on each social network is different. For example, on Instagram, your post is pretty much dead after just a couple of minutes, because yeah, it's just so competitive. So many people post their pictures under the same hashtags that are just super super popular. So you have to post more frequently. Think about posting daily. If your audience is international, you may even want to think about posting several times a day to reach people in all of the different time zones, because one person gets up and starts their day, and for one person it's the end of the day, they're just going to bed and just trying to chill or whatever. So that's important. And for example, LinkedIn, the posts live a lot longer, and you can still see things in your feed that people have posted like a week or 2 weeks or sometimes even 3 weeks. I've seen that 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So that really depends. And you can also post the same content, just adjust it a little bit and tailor it to the social platform, but you can definitely recycle it and repurpose it and post it on different platforms, or even on the same platform just a couple of days later, at a different time, maybe. So you don't have to always come up with new content. And that's how you can make sure and improve your chances that everybody gets a chance to see your post. And then, like I said, go omni-channel. Ideally, that person is also a subscriber of your email list, for example. Then you can send an email out to them and give them that information and share those insights, those news with them that way as well.
Yeah, the I guess the other part of that too is, well, I just lost my train of thought on that. We'll come back to that because I had another thought about when you said that about getting with them. So there are ways, if I'm not mistaken, now to, if somebody checks out a post, we can see kind of, if I'm, let's say I've got new sales and maybe I've got service components of my business. If I post a new sales post versus the repair type post, you can actually look at that so you know how to target resending them information. I mean, like if, and I hate to pick on car dealerships, but let's just use that for an example. You're looking for a new car. If I start flooding you with information about how awesome I can repair your car, you're like, that's not what I'm interested in. But there are ways to make that happen, correct?
Yes, that's right. So there are many ways that you can make that happen. You just have to find out, what people's problems are, what their pain points are, and what they're searching for. So that comes back to the stages of awareness. A person starts as a complete stranger. How aware are they of the problem and of your solution? Are they interested yet? Are they actually searching things and trying to find out information and trying to learn and educate themselves and Google stuff? Or are they already, well informed and they're already ready to buy and they're just looking for someone to solve that problem for them, for someone to hire to repair their car, for example? So you have to like map it out, the different stages of awareness, and then also take your funnel as an example and just match it to the different stages of the marketing funnel as well, so you really know where the person is at as an individual. Like everybody is at a different stage, and then you have to cater to that and create content for each of those stages to reach people in each of those stages. So that's how you do it. And what most people do, or what I see most people doing, is they're only targeting the people that are already ready to buy. And then they're just missing out a huge portion of the entire pool of people that could be potential customers for their business and they don't market to them. They don't market to the people who are not solution aware yet or who are maybe not even problem aware yet. And yeah, that's just such a missed opportunity because there's huge potential.
Yeah. And what we want, our society is a lot more instant gratification focused. We can't lose fact of, the I'm from the old days, so we always talk about building a pipeline. Is that, yeah, I want to reach you if you're ready to buy today for sure, but I also want to be putting out information to make you, like you said, brand aware that I exist, that I have your solution, but be there in 6 months from now when you are ready to buy. So I guess that, kind of gets back to these consistency and running the ads and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So you can't just, be all short term, instant gratification. You have to think long term too, because the time passes anyways, right? For example, if you're gonna publish a blog article, let's take that as an example. You optimize it for SEO and you optimize it for all of the keywords and also from a technical perspective and everything. It takes like a year until you rank for it and get all of that organic traffic with all of those potential customers coming to your website that want to buy from you. The time is going to pass anyway. So if you're not doing it at all, you can't win. But if you're doing it, you can win. So you're in it for the long run, and hopefully, like you want your business to grow, you want to survive, and you still want to be there many years from now. And since the time is going to pass anyways, you can really invest in that and leverage that as well.
Yeah.
So you have to think long term and also be open to long term digital marketing strategies and not just the short term, because then again you're missing out on a huge opportunity.
So the other thing, I did recapture that thought I had earlier when we're talking about posts and stuff. It's like, uh, text is good and people want something to read. When, if we're putting out information to educate, we have to have text for sure. But my understanding is that, text can draw people in, and then uh, pictures are like leaving breadcrumbs to your content, and videos are like leaving chocolate covered breadcrumbs to your content. So, like when we post, and I'm again use Facebook and LinkedIn since I'm more familiar with those, but uh, when you do post some text, select a picture that's relevant. I think it helps the draw. The picture gets people's attention. Like you were saying earlier about just scrolling by stuff, if it's just text, I think you have a tendency to scroll by it faster than if a picture's like, whoa, let me look at that.
Yes, that's right. Have a visual. You can design your own graphics or use a stock photo or whatever, but it definitely helps. It's also great because then your post takes up more screen real estate and it becomes larger because all of a sudden that picture is there, so you can be more present, and that impression generates more awareness for you as well. And videos are even better than pictures because it's just a richer medium, and you can also build rapport through video, really greatly. Especially right now, everything has to be socially distanced. You can't meet people in person. That's why it's so great to go on video, do virtual events so you can really connect to people. They see you, they hear you talk and move, your mimics, your gestures at the same time, and you can get that really personal connection, and you just increase your chances of people stopping and watching it, and then also clicking on the link and clicking through versus if it's just text. And then always have a call to action as well. It's also super important. Whenever you're posting something, you have to lead people and tell them what it is that you want them to do, because you can't just assume that they'll know it or they'll just do it, because they won't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's very important. And then as we talk about that, the uh, one thing I say is don't be afraid to show your human side or that personal. I mean, I guess there's different degrees of vulnerability, but a lot of times people are, we may go with a stock photo versus take a photo of yourself, your staff, because, as you mentioned earlier, I think people buy from people that they connect with, that they feel some kind of a kinship with, they trust for sure. But, if you like dogs, then don't be scared to have a dog in your picture or something like that. Is there true value in that?
Yes, I think so, definitely, because at the end of the day, we're all humans and everybody, people interact with people and people buy from people. Even if you're in B2B, it's still people, it's still human beings that buy from you. So if you can connect at a personal level, you find something that you have in common, you're being sympathetic, you're just showing that you're a real human being and you like dogs and you're not always, buttoned up wearing a suit or whatever, and you're just being personal, and yeah, just be vulnerable, human, and show your personal side, and that will definitely benefit you. And yeah, that's a huge plus if you can do that.
Yeah, and it's so cost effective nowadays. The iPhone, or well, let's just say any smartphone takes good video. There are uh, services where you can caption your picture. There's a lot of things out there. If that's what you really want to do, look for it. It doesn't cost a lot or take a lot of time. These are the other thing I find is it's surprisingly um, quick to do these little tips and tricks that will really help you, like taking a picture. It's not like what some people think that we got to have the big photo shoot, hair and makeup, and we're bringing in video crews. That's not really what I'm talking about as much as, because I'm the guy that thinks if it's too contrived, if it's too sanitary, too scripted, I'm not as interested in that as I am, that the guy that's out on the back deck, taking his own video or whatever. I find more value in that personally.
Absolutely. And that's also the trend that we see. It used to be like that back in the day where you needed to have those high luster productions and everything needed to be super professional in order for you to even be taken seriously as a business. Versus now you can just take your iPhone, just record yourself. You can use selfies as your pictures. You can just make your own videos. All you need is just your phone and maybe like a tripod, and go ahead and make a super casual video. Gary Vaynerchuk is super successful with his video content, and it's anything but super professional. And you don't need a film crew coming in here and makeup and everything to be perfect. The charm is even in everything being imperfect and just real, just real, just normal, like we all are. So yeah, definitely you have to overcome that. Don't be like a perfectionist and think that everything has to be perfect. Just be you. And that's what it's all about. It's about being different and being uniquely you need a unique selling proposition, unique value proposition. That's what it's all about when it comes to differentiating yourself and building your brand, and that's exactly what you achieve by doing that.
All right. Yeah. And especially with this pandemic, we've got a couple dogs that they've been awesome today, but every now and then they will come jump up in the picture, be a little bit noisy in the background. But, you know, um, that's everybody's life. I mean, that's the thing is, like you said, those imperfect, perfect imperfections is that everybody has the same thing. So yeah, we're all, people are dealing with their kids, their spouses, their mothers or mother-in-laws or whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on. So it kind of lends the fact to that, hey, you're human, and it also kind of lets them know that it's okay for them to have these same things going on.
Yes, that's right.
Well, Monique, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to be with us. It's been an awesome talk. I feel like we've learned a lot. First off, what is a tool that you use in your daily life, either professional or personal, a tool, a habit, a ritual, something that you just don't feel like you could do without every day?
I like to use Hootsuite to schedule my social media posts in advance. It helps me a lot with my planning. I don't have to, set my alarm to think about posting. I can do it all in advance, pre-schedule it, and it's, so amazing. It gives me analytics, reports. I can even interact and answer comments and interact with my audience and all different social media platforms at the same time, all in that dashboard, all in one platform. So that's super handy. I love Active Campaign for marketing automation. It just handles so much stuff for me that I otherwise would have to do all manually, and it's such a time saver if you have that set up. So yeah, those are like two of my favorites. I like Trello for project management a
Okay.
lot. So yeah, those are like my favorite tools.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, so let us know. So who is your customer? What can you do for them? And how can they reach out and get a hold of you?
Yes. So if you're a small business and you really want to grow and scale and you have big dreams, I can definitely help you grow and scale and adapt a digital marketing and adapt your digital marketing strategy and help you create a strategy that is just for you, and it's going to be super actionable, like a plan of action, step by step, and systematize all of your operations and your entire business so it can grow and scale with you and you can achieve your big dreams and hopefully grow, right?
Okay. Great. Great. So how can people reach out and put you to work for them?
My website is dragon-digital-marketing.com. And there you can find everything. You can reach out to me. I have a lot of content and resources on there as well. So you can learn about everything. You can also find all of my social handles there. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Yeah, that's the best way to reach out to me.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be sure and put the website in the show notes as well. So y'all reach out, put Monique to work for you, let her help you grow your business. You won't be sorry. Let her help you scale your inbound marketing for sure. All right. Well, thanks again. This has been another episode of the Business of Business podcast. You can find us at www.thebusinessofbusinesspodcast, also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and this recording will go up on YouTube as well. Be sure and share with your friends. And we're on all the major platforms: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. So reach out. Until next time, everybody, take care of each other.